Hey, I want to do a challenge with you. I know they're super popular and there's so many out there. Not all of them are really healthy though. So this is going to be a healthy belly slimming challenge. We're going to do things that I've come across and want to kind of combine into one concerted effort, I guess. And I had thought of like, oh, well, maybe I should do this myself first and then share it with others. But I'm going to go ahead and share it with y'all. You can do it along with me if you want. Make sure you're clear with your doctor for any changes that you might make. And so this first video, I kind of want to give an overview, and I guess today would be day one. Start from here. And day one is really about kind of getting in the right space mentally and marking a starting point. So when I say marking a starting point, that is taking a measurement, which I still need to take mine for today. Actually, I've been taking a waist measurement, but as far as a waist measurement, I'd say, let me back up a little bit here. Two things about measuring your waist for this more detailed version. Number one, in our society, we have a big tendency to like hold in our stomach and like make it look flatter. Has some That has some repercussions as far as like pelvic floor health and like your organs being comfortable. But I say pelvic floor health because if you're sucking it in, that mass is going to put pressure either on your lungs or on your pelvic floor. And a lot of times for women, it's on our pelvic floor, and then we pay the price. So, anyway, so like two places to measure and the best practice for measuring, because like you can mess with the circumference of your stomach by how much you suck it in, right? Like suck in like this, I could let loose like that, and those are going to give me different measurements. I forgot to bring it with me out here, but you're going to want to use a tape measure. Oh, and it's windy, y'all. I'm not even going to edit that out. Let me try to adjust this a little bit so that maybe it's a little more steady. Anyway, so you're going to want to come. You don't have to come to the side, but I just want to come to the side and show you. So like, we have this big tendency, which I'm working on personally, to try to just relax more. It has an effect on our anxiety too, lots of stuff. But I know I'm green on a green background, but if you see like where my hand is, this is like the typical tension that I hold there. And if I relax, that hand is going to come forward because I'm actually letting the mass of like everything I have going on there come out, and just like be. So with like consciously relaxing the tension, if you haven't relaxed the tension, it's gonna feel weird. At first, like I've been working on relaxing the tension for a couple months now, so it doesn't even feel that weird for me. But if you have never done it, that's gonna feel real strange the first time. Definitely something to play with because that can have an effect on like your mental state. If you're constantly holding muscle tension, like you have to be ready. Because you're trying to look slimmer, and you have anxiety or something, might be worth trying. But anyway, for a consistent measurement, we want to release the tension and then measure, depending on this is, I'm just sharing what I'm doing. So I do two measurements. I do a measurement at the belly button and then a measurement like pretty close to the xiphoid, or like where the bra strap goes, because that's really where my waist gets smaller. So I do like the smallest part of my waist and then like at the belly button. And I do at the belly button because it's just like a consistent place where I can say like, okay, I always know I'm coming back to the belly button. So that's the like task for today. If you want to do this with me from whenever you're starting, I'm starting toward the beginning of June, and take that measurement, write it down with the date that you're starting in a place where you can go back or note it in your phone, whatever works better for you. But keep it in a place where you can go back and track. I don't necessarily say like, oh, you need to track every day, because there's so many different things that can affect the circumference of our stomach, like, where we are in our cycle. What did you eat yesterday that, maybe are you bloated, or did you eat things that don't have you bloated? So I would say like, if you want to do every day, by all means do you. But at least once a week, and definitely at least day one, day 28, so you can get a comparison. So there are a few things that we're going to touch on, and some of them kind of have like sub points, but the main points are going to be how we eat. I'm not going to say a specific diet, but kind of like more, ugh, got a bug in my hair, more like literally how you eat. Um, and uh, stay tuned to see what I mean by that. Um, number two, some things related to breathing, because our breath has a lot to do with um, everything. It's actually, we often, when we talk about getting healthier, talk about things like, are you drinking enough water? What's your nutrition like? But you only eat a few times a day and drink a few times a day, but you breathe constantly. So that's definitely a lever we want to move. So we have eating, breathing, sleep, huge factor. It affects hormones, which affects everything. So sleep, movement, not going to be like really vigorous saying like, oh yeah, we got to do hit cardio routines every day. No, these are going to be some really specific movements. Personally, with what I have going on with my health, I have like thyroid condition, and doing really long periods of intense exercise, it's not like the move for me right now. Um, so being consistent with more gentle exercise is what I'll be doing in this 28-day challenge. So we have eat, sleep, movement, breathing. There are a couple other things. Mind. So several things related to the mind. And if you stick with me to the end, I'll talk about one of the first mindset things. And let's see, walking. So, like I said, not going to be intense exercise, but we do want to be consistent. And as far as walking, yeah, if you can get 10,000 steps a day, awesome. But if you're at 1,000 steps right now or 500 steps, like don't jump to 10,000 because you'll probably injure yourself. So if you're at, you know, get a baseline for where you are. Whether I recommend like an actual pedometer so you don't have to carry your phone all the time. If you're like me, you don't always have pockets, but there are pedometers that you can kind of like stick on a waist strap or even have like on a string around your neck. So you can get a baseline for one day, and then without, like, when I say get a baseline, like don't change your activity level, just get a record of how many steps you're taking, and then add on, get more than the day before. If you want to get really specific and say like, oh, I'm going to increase 10% every day, if you're at 1,000, you increase 10%, that means the next day you make sure that you get to 1,100. Got flies out here. So not going like nuts. And if you're like gung ho, I would say increase at most 1,000 over what your normal is. Kind of like every 4 or 5 days. So like if this is day one for you and you already know, oh, usually I'm getting about 1,000 steps a day. Maybe you've always had the step counter in the background on your phone going. Um, then get to 2,000, right? That would be like a good, and then 5 days later you can say, okay, that feels good. I'm not feeling any like symptoms in my knees or anything. Let me up it to 3,000. But just increasing your steps, getting more walking in. If you hardly do any walking at this point, start with a 5-minute walk. It could be on your lunch break, it could be in the morning. Mornings are great because that sunshine can be really important for helping our circadian rhythm and hormones and stuff like that. So let's see, so I didn't have a great acronym when I wrote out the things that I wanted to do, and I don't have the thing in front of me, but my little thing was, it was like web. Well, I think I put 3M, 3S, web. So 3S's were kind of having to do with food, so satisfaction. The other one was stress management, and sleep. So those are the 3S's. And when I say satisfaction, that is eating to satisfaction. So I guess I'm giving you one of the things around eating, but eating to satisfaction and not eating to feeling full. And we'll get into a lot more detail on that in another video. But so those are the 3S's, the 3M's, mindset, movement, and was it 3M's or 2M's? I'll come back to that. And then the web was walking, eating, and breathing. I was trying to think, was there a third M? Anyway, sorry. Um, so I said if you stuck around, I'd get into mindset. So as far as mindset, what you believe has a huge impact on what you'll actually do consistently. Um, and our beliefs are influenced by so many things. There are lots of great books out there on this topic. Um, my son's out here doing his scooter while I do this video, so that's why I'm a little bit distracted. Um, so, what you believe has a huge impact on what you consistently do. Um, so, if let's take the example of walking. If you have been really sedentary, like maybe you like get up, go to work, come home, eat, watch TV, go to bed, like, or, whatever your life entails, but it doesn't involve a lot of walking. If you just say, like, I'm going to start walking, there's some people that do it and they're amazing, but you increase your chances of doing that successfully by first doing the action, right? Like, with your own willpower, go on a walk. But then once you've gone on that first walk, start incorporating that to your belief system because you've gone on a walk, you're a walker, right? And then every time you choose to go on a walk, you reinforce that belief, I'm a walker. And you can even write out like what you want to be true about yourself and then like match that with your actions and then let those actions let those actions reinforce those beliefs. And uh, our mind is kind of like more open to suggestion and like right as we're waking up and right as we're going to sleep. And I'll talk about that going to sleep part. Oh, mosquito. um, a little more in a future day when we talk about different aspects of sleep. But just taking advantage of those times where your mind is open to suggestion to visualize the you want to be. So this is about a healthy belly slimming challenge. So, if you have pictures from like a previous time in your life where your belly was as slim as you want it to be, um, leveraging those by like looking at that picture for a minute or two right before you go to bed and then like imagining that and bring a lot of emotion into it, like a lot of when I say emotion, like bring it to life. So in other words, like if you have that picture or if you have never been where you want to be, which is frankly the case with me, I've been slimmer than I am now, but always had kind of like a pooch going on. So use your imagination for the good. We often use our imagination to worry and like, oh, what if this is going to happen? What if that? But you can use your imagination for good by working your imagination to picture yourself that way or as healthy a version of you as you can imagine, and then doing things as that healthy version, like running in the park with your kid or uh, hanging out at the beach or making dinner as that healthy version of you. So, hopefully, you're really pumped to start this with me. I didn't measure today, but I've been measuring for like the past 2 weeks just to kind of get an average. And my waist right now is around like in that, like at the belly button, that loose around like 40 inches, like 40, 39.8, 40 and a half. Like, like I said, it's going to vary day to day if you're really doing it every day. So we're not looking for, by all means, celebrate if, you go down half an inch, by all means, celebrate. But then if you go back up a quarter of an inch or you go down half an inch and you go up 3/4, like don't let that ruin your life. There's something that I hear from many people now, which is, trust the process, not the progress. So if you stay consistent, uh, and address some of the things that we're going to talk about addressing as we go through this 28-day challenge, like I said, don't give any guarantees, but I'm sure you'll see a change. And at the very least, you'll feel better because, again, this is not like no starving yourself, no extreme dieting, and no crazy exercise. Like you shouldn't come away from this feeling like exhausted or worse or starving. It's actually just like really healthy things that I'm going to suggest, like and like working on your mindset. And I think it's becoming more popular, especially as the mind body connection has been more and more established, that people in the health space are talking about how your mental health affects your physical health. But if you've never heard of that before, I just really want to emphasize that for you. Like, and I guess another part of this is not coming from a place of I hate my body, um, and I want to change it, because that's so negative, and it's depressing. Like if that's your motivation, if that's the angle you're coming from, it's so depressing to stay in that place. Like you'll start avoiding these videos, you'll start avoiding working at it, because you're gonna get tired of like focusing in on that I hate my body. So the positive body moment, I think, is good in the sense that, like, when we make changes for health, it shouldn't be because we hate where we are now. Um, I would strongly, strongly encourage you instead, for any changes you make for health, whether you stick with me in this challenge or not, to come at it from a focus of um, I love my body, right? I love myself. I want to be the best version of myself. And besides the like obvious aesthetic benefits that, yeah, I'll feel, I'll feel more confident, or I feel more confident when my stomach looks slim. There are actual health implications of carrying fat around your stomach. And so by doing things, and obviously this is not going to be like, oh, you just lose your stomach and you don't lose anything from anywhere else. um and again, I'm not even putting, like, you may notice that I didn't say like, and weigh yourself today, because I'm not wanting to put a huge emphasis on the weight. um but the fact is, if you do lose weight, it's not going to be like just from your midsection. It's like a general thing. And um, you may even find that you lose more from other areas first, because just anecdotally, I've seen in so many places, and maybe there's like scientific things behind it too. I haven't really done a deep dive yet, but people tend to say like, oh yeah, belly fat is the hardest to lose. I remember when I was a teenager, there was a guy um, in one of my gym classes that I was I took a walking class in high school and actually did slim down a bit. Um, and there was a guy that was like, "Oh yeah, you should keep going, like, work out." And he was really encouraging. And he was like, "You're gonna see, like, if you clean up your diet and you work out, you're gonna lose fat, like, from your arms, from your legs, and then the last to go will be your stomach." So we'll see. Is that gonna be the case here? I don't know. Let's go on this adventure together. But we are gonna do some things that target, like moves targeted around the midsection, and like strengthening that area, and moving in ways that uh, kind of support it and elongate those muscles. So, another thing that you're not going to see in this 28-day challenge is crunches, because crunches don't actually elongate those muscles. They strengthen the muscles of the abdomen. But because it's so much focus on contraction, like when a muscle is contracted, like if you even look at your arm, when you um, extend your bicep, it looks longer and slimmer. When you contract your bicep, which mine are not huge, of course, but when you contract your bicep, yes, you're like exerting force, and it also gets shorter and thicker. So that's part of what the movement aspect of it is going to be, is like movements that help to elongate and relax those muscles so they don't keep holding tension and being in like a shortened, um, contracted state where they look bulkier. So anyway, I know that might have been a lot of information. Just again to recap, focus today is starting to work on mindset, wanting like the visualization of the version of you want to be, and making sure, or working on, why is this a positive for me, not coming from a place of negativity, and getting your measurement, or your two measurements. Feel free to take other body measurements if you want to see how that's going. Feel free to weigh yourself if you want to weigh yourself, but that's not what I'm encouraging you to do. Encouraging you to do those two measurements of your midsection at the belly button and at the smallest part of your waist, wherever the smallest part of your waist is for you. Thanks so much for watching. And before I say bye, subscribe if you want to make sure that you get each day of the challenge. And so a lot of it is going to be here on YouTube, especially when I need to go into a lot more detail, but I'll also be doing lives from my Instagram, which is the same handle at Level Up Life Project. So follow me on there too. All right. Have a great one. Bye.